Well, hello, everybody. My name is Tim Brahim with Performance Experts Coaching and Leadership 360. And this is another short interview with one of our new clients, Justin Boyd, out of the Austin, Texas area. Justin is a loan originator with SWBC Mortgage. And in 2016, just to give you a little bit of an idea, Justin's on track to close about $46 million in production in 165 units, and that's a pretty solid number since we're on the final days of November here. So, Justin, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to just share a little bit of your learnings with those that are listening.
Absolutely, Tim. Happy to do so.
So, as many of you by now may know, but it bears repeating, we start the Leadership 360 program with a one-week business and life planning retreat down in Costa Rica, which Justin and the other 8 people in Group 5 have just participated in. We've just spent a week together down there getting to know each other and really working on their business and their life. And they each individually build their own custom 3-year business and life plan with goals that they want to focus on over that period and action items that are granular in nature that really are the necessities of being able to successfully implement those goals. And one of the things that we really ask people to do when they are about to depart Costa Rica is narrow down their plan to selecting 3 what we call MIGs, which is an acronym for Massive Impact Goal. So Justin and all the other people in his group each have 3 MIGs that they're focused on implementing and working on and being supported on implementing between now and the next time we get together in March here in Southern California. That'll be done through their private coaching sessions with myself, Scott, and Julie, and then various other forums to help support in the implementation. So, Justin, share with us, if you would please, one of your MIGs that you're choosing to work on over the next 3 to 4 months.
Absolutely, Tim. I think that the process even prior to the retreat in Costa Rica was what ultimately led me to this MIG, which was the time logging that we did prior to the retreat. Spending 2 weeks really finding out where am I spending my day, and it was shocking to me to find that 4 to 5 hours of the day, half the day that I'm at work, I'm actually buried in my email, going through my inbox, and typically just deleting or forwarding or every now and then responding to email. And so one of my MIGs is to spend a maximum of 30 minutes per day in my email.
So the goal is to significantly reduce that time, I assume, to free up more time to spend on money-making activities. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think one of the other takeaways was just being able to work a lot more on my business instead of in my business is going to have a huge impact.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm looking forward to, as I know Scott and Julie are, and really supporting you in implementing this MIG. So getting your arms around email, that kind of sounds like maybe in some ways you were using your email inbox as almost like a task manager, which if you were, and those that are listening that do, that's not what email was built for, and you're going to have a very difficult time having success in using that inbox, because it can get overwhelming really quick, and doesn't really compartmentalize itself in the way that it's structured. So it's just like a bunch of it's just a big haystack that you're trying to find needles in. So let's get a little bit more specific, Justin, with some of the action items, the takeaways, the practical implementation steps that you learned in Costa Rica that you're going to be focusing on implementing to hopefully get this inbox down to a super manageable level and to where you're only spending a maximum of 30 minutes a day on it.
Absolutely. So I think the number one key was really to delegate my inbox to someone else on my staff. So that's really my ultimate goal is to have my inbox at a manageable level where someone else can really be attending to those items that I do need to address, but alerting me of only those. So the very first action item that I undertook when I got home was applying some filters to my inbox through talking with Tim and Julie and others in the group, developing a way that I could create folders and have these emails moving automatically. Sometimes things that I was doing manually on my own, in one day I was able to reduce my inbox by 40%. And that was, really just the tip of the iceberg. So that was the first step I took. The other is really training my loan partner on the use of flags to me where there is an email that I need to address, something that I've never used before, but it's a tool right there in Outlook. And then I think there were some members in the group who really did a good job of implementing weekly meetings with their staff that could be used as times to delegate or to delay what could have been an email that was pushed off someone's plate onto mine, where they could just simply take that into a meeting every Wednesday or twice a week and discuss those items versus filling up everyone's inboxes and probably affecting not only my productivity but my staff as well.
I want to circle back in a moment to a follow-up question to the way that you've created filters and flags and how you're using that. But before I do, I just want to comment on the last thing that you said. For everyone listening, email has become like this habitual way of just dumping our worries onto other people. So, you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out what happened, what's going on this file, or you have a task that you want to delegate to somebody else. And we just are so quickly rush to email and just fill up their inbox. And we do it to each other. They do the same to us, they being our processors and our office manager and our personal assistants and whatnot. And before you know it, you're just getting all this inbound email correspondence from really all the same people. This small group of maybe a half a dozen to a dozen people in your life are just continually filling up your inbox. And what I want you to really be thinking about, and then you're, by the way, of course, reacting to all of this, and it creates a lot of stress and overwhelm because we've all had that day where you walk in, you turn your computer on, and you look, and it says that you have 37 new emails, and you're just like, geez, it's going to, and it just overwhelms you. So one of the things that we really want to coach you on, and that we coach this group on in Costa Rica, is to condition yourself to asking everybody on your team asking a question. Do I need an immediate response to this situation or this question that I have right now, or can it wait until the next time I have my weekly meeting with Justin in this case? And if it can wait, then write it down, and that becomes the agenda for your meeting when you meet once a week. Justin walks into the meeting with his loan partner, and his loan partner has a list of things that have accumulated over the last 3 or 4 days that weren't that time sensitive, and he has the same list, and they go over it together in a focused, present, and on-purpose way. And that will in and of itself significantly reduce the number of emails. And by the way, if you need to meet more frequently than once a week, that's still even better, like if you meet maybe for a half hour twice a week, just to further cut down on the number of emails being sent. Because the reason that we send these emails is because we want an immediate response and we're impatient. And getting to the point of just realizing that not everything is a fire that needs to be put out will significantly cut down. The other thing I'll comment on real quick before we circle back to your flags and filters is if you're going to be, and I've never personally done this, but I have several loan originators that I coach that do an amazing job of this, John Weller being one. And John Weller, just so you know, he's a $100 million producer the last 4 years, and he averages reading somewhere between 5 and 8 emails a day, and that's it. And that's because his loan partner, Donna, does an effective job of implementing exactly what it was that you described that you're going to be doing, Justin, which is to really go through his emails and only push to John's box the things that really are mission critical and fall within John's job description, which significantly frees up his time to originate more loans. But in the process of doing that, of course, you will need to train your loan partner, Justin, how to respond on your behalf to certain emails. So have you thought about that, about taking the time to teach your loan partner to do that?
Absolutely. One of the action items that I took away from was that, for 2 weeks, Josh is going to blind copy me on all of his responses so that I can critique his responses, and we can go through and to train someone ahead of time on every scenario. But course of a couple weeks, we should hear all the objections, or we should get all the same questions, and I'll be able to really monitor and, from my own comfort level, get comfortable with the way that he's responding, and then also just making sure that he is providing the appropriate response to the client.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. That's a great idea, and that's how we suggest you do it. And maybe the first step, the precursor to that, however, would be maybe you responding for a little while and blind carbon copying him so he can start seeing how you respond. Then the second step is then he starts responding and he BCCs you, and then you provide course corrective feedback. And within, a few weeks, you should be at a point, as you said, because there's only so many different kinds of email correspondences you get. So many of the responses are similar, and if you build in even further, go into the signatures aspect and build in like automated responses that just need to be customized with the salutation, that can make the job even easier. Let's transition in one last piece here. So you created these filters. So tell me a little bit about that. Like it basically redirects the email to another file folder, correct?
That's right. So, for example,
give us an idea of some of the filters you created.
Sure, absolutely. And it's funny, until you set these up, you don't really know how many of these emails you're getting every day, and it's almost shocking. So I get an email for every appraisal update in my system. Any loan with my name on it, when the appraisal is ordered, when it's scheduled, when it gets inspected, when it's in QC. I mean, all these things that I don't need to know. I just need to know if the appraisal is going to be late or if the value is low, and I've trained my people to let me know that. And going through and moving or deleting these emails, and it's as easy as right-clicking on the filter, which box it automatically goes to, and at the end of the day, I can go in that appraisal folder and review them in about 5 seconds to know, versus spending my time just trying to get to the other important parts of my inbox. I think as milestone updates through the underwriting process, same thing. I don't need to know when every loan is submitted to QC or underwriting or approved with conditions. It's just it's a constant automatic barrage, and it's literally about 5 seconds to set up a filter, and then you'll only see the emails when you want to.
See, that's the key. That last statement is the key that I want everyone to grab onto. He's now taking control of his day and experiencing his day by design, meaning that he can go and look at these various updates when he wants to. He can carve out 10 minutes while he grabs a cup of coffee in the morning just to kind of get refreshed as to where things are at in the process, so he's updated on things. But it's a very different experience, isn't it, Justin, than walking in your office and having it all be in one big bucket that's overflowing and creates anxiety.
Absolutely. I feel 10 times more organized and like I actually have time to do the work on my business that I've been wanting to do.
Awesome. Okay, one final question, and thanks again for all the time that you've spent with us today. So when we go through the process of talking to people about being in Leadership 360, there are various reasons as to why people have reservations or concerns. Some people say that they can't afford to be away from the office for that long, that their system is not established in such a way to support their absence. Others reference maybe not feeling comfortable being away from their family for a week. And in some people's cases, even the cost is an inhibiting factor. Now that you've at least been through the 1 week with us, and we still have 12 months ahead of us with a lot more to help you with, what would you say to somebody who's considering being an L360 based upon your experience thus far?
I think that it became very evident to me within really the first few days of the retreat that, the incredible amount of knowledge that Tim brings to the table, combined with the other 8 members of the group, I took away so many small ways to tweak my business or to improve this or change that. I mean, we talked about the email filters that have already made a massive impact. Think about this week away from your business or away from your family even closer when you get back home, because I've been able already to carve out more of my day to be home early with them, or to be involved and be more supportive of my staff, and in a very organized and well thought out way, versus the kind of ad hoc approach that I was having to take. I didn't have the time or the bandwidth to manage it all.
Well, there's so much more to come, brother. I mean, Thursday we have our first masterminding call, and it's going to be a lot more about this kind of stuff, a lot more of the way to set up your day for success, and how to stay organized and stay on task, and how to really get through all of the high payoff activities. So thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule to share a little bit of your learnings. I know that the people listening appreciate it as well. And look forward to our coaching call tomorrow and our masterminding call on Thursday, bro.
Absolutely, Tim. Happy to help.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.